Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
All right, here we are. It's Ben, Andy.
Hey,
Morgan.
Ben. Yeah, what's going on?
What's up?
Another beautiful day in the heartland, right?
Every day, man. Every day.
As we always say, living the dream. We're just living the dream.
Living the dream. That's right.
So what do you got on tap for us here today?
We got a few things, man. But first of all, Morgan, you got anything to say? You're here.
I'm here. No. Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
All right.
Fitting. You know what? I think one of the topics, and you used a little Mr. Rogers reference there. Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
She's a natural, Ben.
Yeah, right. That's some old school there. So I thought it'd be fun today to chat a little bit about just kind of how, when we were kids, and how we consumed entertainment.
Right.
You know, basically off of television. Maybe a little bit of radio, sitting in Dad's bench seat, Chevy pickup. But besides that, with what's going on today with our kids, I mean, we all have kids similar ages, or yours are younger, I guess. But what are they doing, and where's all that coming from? Because it's totally different.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And even think about, our fathers and how they had Saturday morning cartoons. And even when I was, young and growing up, a kid, it was Saturday morning cartoons. That was the time when you got to, you kind of had the TV. Like everyone in the household understood that, hey, it's Saturday morning. The kids are going to wake up early and they get the TV from 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. until about 10. And I mean, that's the way it was for generations. And now it really is. It's all over the map.
Yeah, the evolution of television, man, it's so different today. Like you said, what I remember being younger, waking up, the memories that I have the best of television, I think, is two times. It was in the morning,
Okay.
and it was in the evening. You know, I mean, it was
Right.
like when you got up and when you went to bed.
Morning
Yep.
by yourself
Well,
with your sister,
my sister and I, yeah.
but not parents.
No,
the
I
night
mean,
was like the parent thing. Everyone was
oh
around.
yeah, we were all
You know
watching
what I mean?
together,
Yeah.
right, for sure. Because in the morning was the kid shows.
Yeah.
But we would get up. We were getting ready for school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was breakfast time, whatever. And so this was throughout the week. Like on the weekends, I mean, we definitely watched the Saturday morning thing on the weekends as well.
Okay.
But my memories are more during the week. That was just like how I woke up.
Okay.
I don't know. You run into any of that?
Well, what was your show there during the week? Because the big one for me in grade school was I had to race home to watch Full House. I mean, as soon as 3:30 hit and
Full
that bell
House, yeah.
rung, I had to run home so I could watch Full House. And then it turned into Saved by the Bell was in one of those time slots right after school. And you did. You set your watch to that. You cut out a portion of your day to watch those shows. And, okay, I've kind of exposed myself on a couple of guilty pleasures when I was, younger. Morgan, what were a couple of your shows?
I remember Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're talking.
And DuckTales. Ooh. Like,
Woo!
right?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
No, I was on that.
I feel like they were back to back. Those were, I believe, what was after school for me. I don't know why I was thinking Full House. That's right.
So I think you guys are touching on something that I totally forgot about until you said that, and that was after school TV.
Yeah.
Because there was that for sure.
So you were just thinking morning.
I was just thinking morning, and I was thinking, like you said, in the evening with the parents. But there was definitely some after school TV.
I don't think I was allowed to
What do
watch
you-
morning TV.
Well, like in the morning where you're watching like
Yeah, what's
CNN
on?
News with your dad, like, were you getting caught up on current events before
Oh,
you
man,
went?
Weather?
times were different. It was like the broadcasters knew that the
Okay.
kids were going to be up. It's breakfast. Like you woke up, you're tired, you're trying to get your thing going. It's breakfast time. It was Ninja Turtles every
Oh,
day,
yeah.
every morning.
Oh,
And-
what network was that?
I know.
It was on the TV. I mean, the TV we didn't
Okay.
have a remote. The TV had a dial. Like there was 12 options.
Click, click, click.
Yeah, and it was
Return it.
and it was the Ninja Turtles, man.
Oh my goodness! If there was a Ninja Turtles channel, I would have been tuned into that. We had those VHSs, video cassette tapes, and we had all the Ninja Turtles. Every time one of those came out, We had to have it. And we played the first two that we got so much that it went gray, when you'd overplay those VHS tapes. I mean, Ben, I wish I would have known about your Ninja Turtle channel there.
Sorry.
I think we were just racing too much in the mornings. I don't remember the TV in the mornings and having like a chill morning as a kid. I think it was get out of bed, get dressed.
Right.
That's interesting. I like that. It would be a nice calm to your day. But just now having kids, I don't want them to have the TV on in the morning because they won't do what I'm telling them to do.
And we ran into that for sure too, because Mom, would be yelling like, "If you don't get your shoes on, I'm gonna shut the TV off," or whatever. Like that happened.
Okay.
It was the morning routine. It was get up. Mom was gonna make whatever it was. It was usually like oatmeal or Eggo waffles or something like that. And then we were in the living room. The TV's in the living room.
Okay.
And so then, these companies, like, they could build all the stuff around this. Like, they knew this was happening. So we would have, like, the things that went along with the Ninja Turtles. Like, I had this TV tray that was this metal tin thing that would flip the legs out.
Right.
And I'd just sit on my butt, and that thing would be right over top of me, and I'd be leaning over eating on it, watching.
Probably in your Ninja Turtle jammies.
Most likely.
We had those tin fold-out, and right along with what you're talking, TV dinners. I mean, whenever Mom ran out of time or whatever the case may be, it was go to a TV dinner, flip out the trays, and we loved it because then we got to watch more, of our TV shows. You're talking about routines and schedules. You actually, Morgan, reminded me of a story I totally forgot about, and it was DuckTales. And it was supposed to come on at 8 o'clock.
Oh,
at 8 o'clock at night. Yes.
I thought it was earlier. Okay.
So I just did my usual thing in the neighborhood. We're out playing wiffle ball, riding bikes, and I had my watch on, my Chicago Bears watch. And I was just watching it like a hawk. Like, okay, I got to get home at 8 o'clock to watch DuckTales, a new one's premiering. And that's when I learned that there was, the time on the East Coast was different from Central Time. I missed it by an hour, and I was so mad. So I actually cut out early, playing with my friends, in the neighborhood, got home to watch DuckTales, and it was already over because that was the East Coast time.
Oh, shoot.
I know, I was devastated, but live and learn.
And that was how you learned about time zones.
There you go. So education all in one. Yeah, I remember that in Chippendale Rescue Rangers. I mean, that was my go-to. But I do remember Full House. That was a good one.
And that was after school.
And Saved by the Bell.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Full House. Then you kind of graduate when you get to middle school, 7th, 8th grade. Yeah, then it's all about Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris, Kelly Kapowski, I think was the looker.
When we got home from school, we watched, which I think is so funny today because this is like a hot thing now, a show called Hey Dude.
Hey Dude.
Do you ever remember that? Did you guys ever watch that?
No, but I'm thinking of the Hey Dude shoes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, so now all of a sudden today, like, everybody wears those things, and it's like a freaking crazy madness that happened.
Who was in that show?
Yeah, spill the beans. Know. What's this all about?
I don't even know who it was.
It was Google this.
It was a dude ranch that, like, I don't know, these teens or whatever were at and working. And we go home from school and watch that.
Was it kind of like an MTV reality thing, like Road Rules or something?
No, it was not reality TV.
Huh.
It was something scripted for sure.
Really?
Okay. We'll have to look into that. But yeah. I mean, we're talking about how these shows were on a schedule. That's out the window nowadays. And I think that's a huge difference between when we were growing up compared to what our kids are doing now. And that is, there's no schedule, and whatever they want to watch is available to them when they want to watch it.
And on multiple TVs, iPads, like we're talking about, ours was more than likely one TV. If you had a couple in the house, you might have been rich. I don't know. Like, it just seemed there was one TV.
Yeah, now there's over 7 devices, or an average of 7 devices that are logged in and to the internet at one time in a household. So all 7 of those could be streaming, like you're saying, YouTube, Hulu, whatever the case may be. And everybody can be watching something different. You made a great point earlier where in the mornings that programming was kind of made family friendly. So everyone could kind of take something out of it. Now you're getting it so specified, and each little niche can be found. So your 8-year-old can be watching his show, and 40-year-old dad, he can be watching his show. And it's just totally changed about how. And I don't know if it's for better or for worse. And I think we're going to kind of get into that a little bit here.
The times is such a big point in this conversation because the lifestyle has changed, where you knew you had this time that you had to watch this, like you said, and you learned that quick because you missed it.
Yeah, I did.
And if you miss it, you miss it. It's gone. It's not there anymore.
Right. You got to wait till the reruns come out the following season,
or it comes out on VHS or something like that, right? Where you could go get the tape and watch the whole season, which nobody really did.
No.
Families scheduled their life around certain shows.
100%. 100%. We knew what time those shows were going to be on in the morning. We knew what time those shows were going to be on in the evening. And we talked about that at the beginning. That was the other kind of fond memory that I have is the certain evenings, whatever the show was, with the family, watching it. You knew it was at 7:00 or whatever it was.
Right.
And we had to either be sitting there eating dinner, watching it, or have had dinner done, or whatever. You had to plan for it.
Get your chores done. If you want to watch Thundercats, that was another big one for me. Thundercats, and like you said, we knew it was on Wednesday nights at 6:30, and we had that big old satellite. I remember,
Yeah.
And when you punched in a number, the whole satellite rotated to catch the satellite, orbiting the Earth. Like, this is really old school stuff, and we could pick up the back feed of the Thundercats episode, but we had to surf through all these channels and find where Thundercats was getting sent back. And it was still on a schedule, though. We had to have our stuff done, our homework done, everything done by 6:30 in order to watch Thundercats.
Yeah. Or else you're going to miss it. And then it was gone.
Right.
You know what I remember? When we were dating in high school, your family would sit down and watch X-Files together.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't matter
Oh,
if
yeah.
I was coming over.
Yeah.
At a certain time, it was like, we're watching X-Files. TV trays out, dad on the recliner, everyone's sitting there.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on because
Mark
I haven't
Mulder?
been watching all of them with them.
Right.
I would just randomly pop in, but you sure believe that I sat on the couch and watched it because he wasn't going to miss it.
Yep. That's how it was.
That's hilarious. I think we got a lot more in common than I knew because we were the same way, Morgan. We were an X-Files family. And
Really?
I remember my younger brother had a sleepover party and brought some kids over, and we're like, oh, it's X-Files time. And it was just happened to be a real gory one. You deal with it every now and then. And no one felt good after that episode. And I remember Shane's buddies were like, I don't know if I like that show.
Right. Yeah. You guys watch that season after season.
Oh, yeah. Never missed it.
Anyways. But
It's yeah, and it's so different. And we've seen a couple different generations of it, so to speak, because our oldest is 19. And when she was really coming into it, there was still we still had cable television, satellite, whatever it was. There were still things that were timed, but then it was kind of like the beginning of Hulu.
Right.
And it was okay. It gave parents another option where instead of having to know what time that show was on, we could pull that up at any time during the day, stick the kid in front of the TV so that we could clean the kitchen or whatever the case may be.
Right. And it's been interesting because some shows have actually evolved. I'm thinking, your daughter's 19, so I'm thinking Grey's Anatomy is a perfect example. When that show started, it has Thursday nights or whatever time slot it was. And now it's to the point where if you can wait 2 or 3 hours, it's going to be on Hulu.
Yep.
So it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even to live, brand new programming today. Doesn't matter. There's going to be a medium where you can catch it sometimes simultaneously with the network's actual airing of it, over your basic cable program.
Right, for sure.
So,
and then that continued to evolve, and then we got to a point years and years ago where it was why do we even have regular television?
yeah,
Right.
let's not pay for this.
Because it's all hear anytime we want it, other than live sports, which, that continued to evolve. But at that time, so we killed it. And then, our middle daughter and then our youngest boy, as all that continued to evolve, it's where we are today. He's 10. Your kids, Andy, are what?
Oh, geez, putting me on the spot here. No, 5, 3, and we have a 2-month-old.
Right. So you guys are getting into it.
Oh, the 5-year-old is all over YouTube. Like that's his go-to is YouTube. It's to me, it's crazy. And the programming that he prefers to watch, like just Pokemon rotating. Like what? I don't know. It bores me to death. I'm like, let's get on something sports. Let's get on Sports Center or something. Yeah.
And that's the thing now. It's YouTube. Yeah. Our 10-year-old, that's it.
Yeah.
But Haley is 4 years older, and that was not a thing. So in that time frame, she was not into. That's just what's so weird to me. It just changes that fast. So they're 4 years apart.
Right.
And in that time frame, she was not obsessed with YouTube. It evolved so fast that was not her, and it's not her age bracket of friends right now. It's those young ones, 12, probably 11, 10, and younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the scary things for me, I guess, is not only does something creepy or that you wouldn't prefer them to see just randomly pop up on like YouTube or whatever the case may be. Don't want to throw YouTube under the bus, but it does happen, and there's actually jerks out there that are trying to make that happen, that frame their channel or the show as a kid-friendly thing, and it, comes up while little Ozzy's trying to watch Pokemon or whatever the case may be. But on a bigger picture, it reminds me of what's going on with social media, and that these algorithms that actually operate it, they are feeding you what you want to see. So you're not actually getting a different perspective. You're not seeing, wholesome family programming that's good for everyone to consume or to at least form an opinion. You're just being fed what your opinion already was, or just building on that opinion. You're not being, it sounds like a democratic type of way of doing it. Like, oh, we're only going to share with you what you want to see or what you agree with. Well, yeah, but now you're not growing. You're not expanding your mind or your ideas or your beliefs at all. You're just stuck in this trance of YouTube is so good at it. They're just going to keep feeding you exactly what you want to see. And I don't think that's healthy, and call me an old fuddy-duddy or it was better back in the day. I'm not saying that either because there's a lot of pros to this.
Right.
But I also think there's something to the old Star Wars movies, like your morning programming where everyone can sit down and take something from it and have a perspective or a conversation with it. And I'm not a big Star Wars guys, but that was just something, that's a movie that I think just relates to everybody across the board, and they've done a terrific job with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good point. And it's not like it's all malicious. Like they're trying to show you what you've shown interest in.
Yeah.
Of course, they want to keep your attention. That's how they make money.
Yeah.
But like you said, to your point, now you're not necessarily getting exposed to some of the
other sides. They're
raw
just
ideas, whatever. Okay, Bonanza was an old show that everyone, the families just sat down and gathered. And man, there are some episodes where some things happened, and you had to have the father-son talk afterwards. Well, they had to put the dog down because it had rabies. And
right.
All that stuff that makes people uncomfortable, it seems to be just kind of cut out of a lot of that,
Yeah.
The movie Red Dawn, that was a big smash hit in the 80s. They redid it with, who's the Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
I haven't seen it.
He's a super hot guy, super good-looking
manly
dude.
man.
Oh, he's a man's man. But I think that's who was in it. But Ashley and I watched it, and the gut-wrenching parts that were just, tough to handle were just kind of sidestepped in the new movie, where they had to, make some really tough decisions and made everybody uncomfortable. They just kind of glide over it or rewrite it and take that stuff out of it. And
it seemed just easier
Yeah.
to do, right? But it's not easier. Where are we? No one's getting those lessons or teachings.
Exactly. And I don't know if I don't know if in the long run, if it's actually better for everybody.
Right.
And that kind of goes along with what we're talking about as far as how the younger generations are consuming the entertainment now. Even Hulu, it has shows for you that just crops up. So it's just going to keep feeding you the type of content that you want to see, that you want to consume, and it limits what you're going to be exposed to. It just keeps you in this happy little shell. And I don't know. That worries me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all changed. I mean, it's changed so much. And I think one of the other problems that I have with it is it feels like when we were younger, we watched a whole lot less of it.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I think.
Mhm.
And, you know, a lot of
Wasn't
times
as
as people get older, they you're always saying like, oh, it was so much better when we were younger.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, but
Yeah.
because it's so accessible,
Mm-hmm.
like whenever they get a chance. I mean, I see so many kids, and our kids are guilty of it too. Just grabbing the iPad, grabbing the phone, whatever it is, and just wanting to watch, things all the time. I mean, even with cellular signals and how iPads work and all that in the car. I mean, we
Right.
never had anything to watch in the car.
No, I had a Sony Walkman that I had to
Yeah.
mow yards for. I raised some money, bought a Sony
Nice.
Walkman CD player, first a cassette tape player, and then I had to buy the cassettes, and CDs were $20 a pop. And yeah, so I had my 15 CDs that I would listen to in long car trips,
Right.
And now everyone's got a smartphone, so I get to just tune into YouTube or go to my Hulu subscription and just watch what I want when I want. It's kind of weird to think about watching Friends or whatever. There was a discipline to it. You had to be,
Mhm.
TGIF or whatever. You had to be there at that time.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all kind of lost right now, which I think is another kind of a thing that kids just don't even kind of take for granted, right?
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a discipline to it. You got to have your stuff done if you want to watch it, and that's
Right.
That's kind of out the window. And another point, I feel like it's not going to get any better. In fact, these companies are getting better and better at figuring out how to feed you exactly what you want to see, like what you were talking about, Ben, because that's how they make money. They want to have more viewership. Amazon Prime, which is, I mean, they're doing some big things right now. They just bought MGM Studios for $8.45 billion.
Wow.
And that was all so they could stay in line with or compete with Netflix, with Hulu. And, I mean, it's a move they had to make because their programming was so limited. And we've had Amazon Prime for a long time now, so, like, I'm not getting on a soapbox and saying I'm better than you guys or anybody else because we're doing it too.
Yeah.
I got Netflix, I got Hulu, Prime, all of it. But with this Amazon deal, they needed to buy MGM because of all the content they got with it. Right off the bat, they got all the James Bond movies.
Oh.
And that switched overnight.
Huge.
It was on these other mediums, and
Go.
So then
was
it
it
just
on-
drops
yeah.
off.
then it was on Amazon Prime though.
Really.
And I mean, just think of the decades upon decades of Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Those are good movies. That whole franchise in itself was probably worth the $8.45 billion. But they also get all the other movies and TV shows that MGM has made over the years, and an actual studio where they could make programs that could compete with some of these really good shows on Netflix. Like Ozarks.
The Netflix originals.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So, like, I just think it's getting bigger and better. And I mean, as parents or whatever, like, I think you're gonna have to make an effort to be more in tune with it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't know, if regulate's the right word, but on that side of it, I don't, like you're saying, there's nothing malicious behind it, but it's business.
Yeah.
And they're getting really good at this business.
They are. The television thing is it's so much of our lives, and I don't know what this is going to turn into, but it's changing all the time.
Mhm.
And like my prediction, like you see all these big companies, like you talked about, Amazon buying these big studios, Netflix is doing it, whoever else,
Right.
HBO is involved in a bunch of deals. Like there's all these things that are going on. But at some point, there's going to be so many different like subscription services
Sure.
that it just isn't going to work anymore. like you're going to be paying twice as much as what you were paying back in the cable days. You know,
Oh,
when
yeah.
we were like, oh my God, it's $150 a month to have cable. You know, now it's going to be $300 a month for the 6 apps that you have
Sure.
that, you know, have all these things that are going on. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And I don't know why, I'm sure one of them will, but needs to, well, I guess they need to. I think this is what's going to happen, is that they will become the new provider. So all these providers that we used to see back in the day that we still see a little bit, but they're fading away, like the Cox Communications, the Time Warners, you know,
Right.
these companies that are around the country that brought in all these networks at one place for you, charged you $150 a month, and you got access to all of them.
Right.
That's what's going to be, in my mind, that's what's going to be start happening with these apps, is that those companies are going to be, and it'll probably be those same ones, buying all of the content and providing to you one monthly thing for access to all of this kind of stuff. But it's all, the only difference is that,
back to the same thing.
yes, and the only
Right.
difference is that now it's over the internet instead of over the coax line.
Yeah.
It's over the internet, and whatever I want to watch at that given point in time, I get to watch.
For sure.
There's
Yep.
no time schedule to it.
Yep.
And I think some of that's already starting to happen, like with the Disney Plus app.
Yeah.
I think if you do it and do it right, you got Hulu on there, you got ESPN and ABC, and I'm probably leaving something out there.
Yeah, I think those are the 3 they bundled together, right?
Yeah, we've got it.
We have.
Yeah,
We have it.
because Disney owns ESPN, who's owned by ABC.
Right.
And then they cut a deal with Hulu, who cut a deal with a whole bunch of different, mediums and old programs, old TV shows, new TV shows. I go back, I think Grey's Anatomy's on Hulu, so that will be interesting to see how that evolves and who else is going to get it. Like, what is your package going to be? Because, before you know it, $15 here, $20 there, $5.99 a month there. That's going to add up pretty quick.
You're close to the 150, 200 you used to be paying.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what's also a really interesting topic in this arena of what's going on right now is new movies. How those are coming out and what we're seeing. Like, I haven't dug into this, but I'm just seeing what I hear.
Yep.
And these movie theaters and how it used to be for us going to movie theaters. I mean, our youngest, again, I mean, he's probably been to, I don't know, 8 or 10 movies in his life,
if
maybe.
that.
Yeah. And we were like, it was like every weekend, every other weekend for sure. And that was an experience, man, and that
Sure.
was fun.
Right.
Now, there's a couple of problems there. A lot of these movie theaters and that business price themselves out of it. I mean, you go and you got to buy a $15 Coke. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, guys. Like, you're kind of getting, you're going to sleep in the bed that you
That's
built.
when you sneak in your snacks.
Right.
and
Yeah.
your Sodas. Is
I
that
got
allowed?
busted so many times for that. I had a big old 32-ounce Gatorade in my sleeve one
Oh,
time.
come on.
And they're like, come on, Izzy."
See, we had it easy. You just had a purse. Come
Yeah,
on.
That was too easy.
I mean, we even went to movies in college.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you might fall asleep in them, but
Well,
You might be
the-
sneaking in something else, but
and I thought this is where you're going with that, Ben. There's, due to the pandemic and kind of the fallout and everything else, I mean, the movie industry basically shut down for about a
Yes.
year.
totally.
big
So that
effect,
really
yeah.
hurt. And I mean, you had these studios, whether it was MGM or Disney or whoever, who had movies ready to rock and roll, ready to release, and it was Onward just totally flopped for Disney. So Disney like, okay, what do we need to do next time so we don't get a flop? They just put it on their Disney Plus app for $29.99, and now they're doing it with all their movies. And I'm seeing it across the board. It's not just Disney anymore. So that's also attacking the movie theaters. So, and I think a lot of these people, whether they're young, old, or whatever, they're more comfortable just sitting at home, paying the $30, and they can justify it
Mhm.
by saying, well, you take 3 kids, you buy 4 Cokes, you buy
Yep.
a 5-gallon bucket of popcorn, because that's the smallest size they have now.
Yep.
You're spending less by just buying it for $30,
Yeah.
instantly over your app.
I've heard a couple of people talk about that. The next wave in home building is going to be that every house is going to have a home theater system in it, like a home theater room.
Right.
I mean, that's brilliant.
It's probably what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I mean, with the nostalgia in me is like, man, the movie theaters, that was
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, no one uses their
But-
dining room, so just get rid of that.
There we go.
I mean,
Yeah.
make it a movie room. Come on,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
Yeah.
twice a year,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. No,
But-
I'm on.
I
I'm
mean,
on board
just
with
saying.
you. I'm on board. The evolution of
Thanksgiving,
the American family. We got it figured out here.
Yeah.
I think.
and the theme here is, how today compared to yesterday, whatever, how content's getting consumed,
Right.
in terms of television, and that's so different. I mean, it's one of the things you were talking about, like these big movies are coming out and they're moving them straight to streaming.
Right.
Like that's where they're starting.
Yeah.
And it was a movie where like before you would be like, oh my gosh, like I gotta figure out my schedule and how do we do this, and I want to go see it, and
And you
is the
call
movie
your
gonna be
friends
is
and-
the movie gonna be is the theater gonna be overbooked and I can't get in, and
Oh yeah, like okay, so the Lynch Theater, the Lynn Theater in Little Old Lynch, Nebraska, right? Okay, so the movie's at 8:00 on Friday night. Well, I got a Friday night football game. How am I gonna
Yeah,
get my girlfriend to the movie?
right.
Can you please wait till Saturday? Can you please wait till Saturday and watch my football game? You know?
Right.
and it's crazy, like you said, $29.99 for that movie, and if you just think about that off the bat, you're like, "Psh, no freaking way, man, that's
Right.
ridiculous. But then if you really sit down and think about it, you're like,
Yeah.
well, it does kind of pencil out.
Yeah.
It does. I think we had this conversation.
Oh, we
the
have.
other
I'm
day.
still not buying them.
Now, I will throw the movie theaters, especially in our area, a little bit of a bone here because they've come around, and the one that I've gone to the last couple of times actually has a bar in it now.
Nice.
And on top of that, they'll say, "Oh, just sidestep the bar. We'll just deliver your beer or your drinks,
Mhm.
and they got
your
food,
seat.
yeah, to your seats." And there are these big reclining seats, and I don't know, it's $2 or $3 more, but I don't care. Like, I only get out to a couple movies now per year, it seems like. So
Right.
when we do it right.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
the experience.
it
and,
is.
and when I think about it, that's what I feel like kids are missing out and they don't know. So we're pretty good about telling the kids, oh, we used to do this.
Mhm.
Again, are we old talking like our parents? Oh, back in
Sure.
the day.
of course,
But they get it because I feel like the older two kind of had a snippet of it
mm-hmm.
where the younger one's like, okay, I still got my YouTube, my iPad. This is good. But I don't know. It makes me a little sad. They don't have that.
And they kind of got to put themselves out there. Like, I mean, being a young man and whatever, you're 15 or 14, 16 years old, and you're trying to take a girl out to the movies, like, man, that took some nerve, that took some
Mhm.
courage. You
Yeah.
had to just
Yeah,
buck up and do it.
there's
And-
something to that.
Yeah, and pay for her ticket, and there is something to it. And now it's like they just log on and connect, and they're not even in the same room, but they're watching a show together. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is that? Like,
It's kind of odd.
it's odd, and you're losing a lot of everything
A
to
lot.
me. Yeah.
A lot of street cred,
Yeah, street
I
cred's a
mean,
great way to put that.
Think about it.
But you're
Yeah.
not putting yourself out there. I don't know.
I guess I didn't
it
think
is
about
tough.
that. That
It-
probably was hard for you guys. But really,
Oh
it's
my God.
probably dang easy because you don't have to talk. Then you just sit there at a movie.
Well,
Did you think about that?
Well, you wouldn't talk if you were zooming each other either.
No, but I'm saying opposed to. I'm digressing here. Going like out to a movie or going out to a dinner. I mean, you actually have to have conversation. So, going to a movie might have been an
I
easy
can-
out. Or
I
no.
can remember me just sitting over top of the phone at home, just looking at it, and I knew she would probably say yes. She would probably go on a date with me, right? I
stressing
I
out.
was stressing out, sweating it, and I called her, and my leg was shaking. I'm not even kidding you; it was straight up shaking. And then and then there was still those nerves were there when I drove my Ford Tempo, to go
Styling.
pick her up. Yeah, but once again, I purchased that Ford Tempo from money I made mowing yards since
Right.
I was a fourth grader on up till I was 16. So, there's some pride in that, and I felt like, I was worth it, and she was worth it. And now it's just being streamed and connected. Like,
Come over to the house, we'll
Yeah.
watch it, or like you said, we'll just Zoom together.
yeah, like what is
Watch
that?
it. I don't
You're
know.
you're missing out on all the steps and your actual, your time where it's just you and her, in your Ford Tempo, and the drive back home. There's none of that.
Right.
Yep.
And there's also no back row at the movie seat,
Yeah. Yeah.
all those things that come with that.
Oh, we got lost on the way home.
There
There's
you
none
go.
of that.
Oh, yeah. We took the
happened.
Ridge Road. We
Oh,
took the Ridge
right.
Road. We wanted to overlook the Niobrara River on the way home. All that stuff that, that's, you can't do that when when you're in each other,
Yeah.
It's a different game. It'd be interesting to see how kids who are doing that stuff today, what they would
Yeah,
say
really.
about it. Like,
We should know.
Where's
I mean,
the
with the kids,
what is the fun they're having? I don't
like
know.
with our kids and what.
So our daughter, who's in high school, she'll never go to movies, does she?
No.
I mean, it doesn't happen.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
as a father, you're like, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But no-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you're missing out on some of the back and forth, and I think that makes you a more witty, with it, whatever type of person. You're more well rounded if you actually live through some of these experiences. And it's crazy to think this conversation was started, kind of over just TV programming, and now we're talking about how movies are irrelevant because they watched it over TV, which actually isn't even TV anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that's-
just the learnings that come from
yeah.
it,
Uh-huh.
I
Interesting,
don't know.
guys.
It's an interesting topic. The only other thing I was thinking about that I thought is kind of interesting as well in terms of like this media and that is radio, because we've kind of gone through the television thing and the movies and that, but radio, like I don't even know the answer to that. I was just thinking about it when we were talking. Obviously, when we were kids, we listened to a lot of just terrestrial radio. Dad always had the country music station on or whatever.
Right.
We knew what the name of the station was. We knew the DJs, all these kinds of things, and that's all changed. But our kids, I was trying to think about kids today, and how they're doing that. I mean, it's all streaming, right?
Yeah, it's all Spotify and playlists or.
Sure. And once again, they're just feeding you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear a new song that's out of your 4 picks, your genre picks, or whatever you kind of set for that algorithm to feed off of. And once again, I feel that's kind of a sad deal there, where you're going to see less songs that you like, but you're never gonna find that one artist that you would have heard just listen to it organically over a radio station.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's the truth. Yeah.
And and we were kind of talking about it off air there, how radio stations, they have deals worked out, right, with major record labels, and that's how they get put on the radio. Well, that's a two-way street, because Spotify, iTunes, they all work the same way. Like, nothing accidentally happens. You don't see something on YouTube by accident. You don't hear something on iTunes, shuffle, whatever, by accident.
Yeah.
Like, it is figured out, and it's figured out for you. And I don't know. I do. I miss a little bit of that randomness. And I remember being at high school parties, and you'd kick the tires, light the fire, and turn on the country radio station, and you'd kind of roll your eyes when Billy Ray Cyrus came on again.
Mm-hmm.
But, that was also kind of the fun of it, and that you lived through.
I remember when Pandora first came out, and I think that was one of the first streaming services.
Yep.
And I don't remember what they called it, but they had some kind of project that was basically like, it was exactly that. It would figure out what you liked. And they encouraged you every time they would play a song to like it or whatever.
Thumbs up or.
Yeah,
Yep.
so then it would start building based on like all these different parameters behind that song that they
Right.
had tied to it of what other ones they were going to start playing. And eventually you got to a point where like you were really on this one path of all the stuff that you were listening to.
Yeah. And you loved it.
Yeah, for sure, because it was like every single thing that played you liked.
Mm-hmm.
But then I found myself like years later hearing something that I hadn't heard for years and thinking, man, I missed that. That
Yeah.
was kind of cool.
How did I not hear that?
Yeah.
That's right
Yeah.
up my
Right.
alley,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all about if you're in a mood and you want to hear what you want to hear, you have your playlists.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why then I still will listen just to the radio. I don't want to hear the commercials, but sometimes you might hear something new.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
just something about it
It is.
that will bring me back to maybe they might play something new that I haven't heard. Flipping through some stations. It might
Yeah.
be satellite, but I still have regular stations.
Sure.
in the car. I don't know.
I love going through all that different stuff. And the more you know, what I heard with Pandora, if you do want to hear something different and something new, create a new channel, but just be as vague as possible. So, because it's always asking you to like this, what else might you like? Just be so vague that they can't just put you in a box.
That's a good idea.
And so they're just constantly searching. Then that's the only way you're going to hear new songs on Pandora. Because like what happened to me, and I loved it too, but at work I'd put it on, and I songs I liked, I hit it like, and they would just feed me those, and I'd only listen for an hour to a 2 hour span, and I'd always hear the same songs. It seemed like by the same artist every day, and I didn't even know it. I loved it, right? I'm thinking, wow, what am I missing out on here? Like, there's got to be something that's come out since, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, when we're working here at the shop, we've got the radio on. It's usually like Spotify or something like that, and literally we'll hear the same songs like.
But I can't say that I've liked any of those. It's just kind of a preset station, hot country or old country, and it kind of lumps everything into it. But after about an hour and a half, you're hearing the same songs. It's like, golly.
Your top 25 or whatever the case may be, and once again, that's Spotify working. Something's working in the back.
And to that point, like that's how we're doing it. But again, like our 10-year-old, he's not really listening to anything.
No.
The only time he's hearing music is if he's in the car, because that's what we're playing.
Right.
Which is how it was for us too when we were kids. Or it's the music that is on the YouTube video that he's watching.
And I wouldn't say he is not on TikTok, but has looked at my TikTok or, I've heard this, and what TikToks are 10 seconds. Yeah. He's like, oh, that's that song. Well, you heard 10 seconds of it.
When I was
a kid, you think you like the whole song? I mean, okay.
Yeah. I had a radio in my bedroom, and it was on almost every single night. And that was pretty much what I fell asleep to.
To go to bed?
Yeah, when I was really young. So I was consuming audio that way.
He doesn't even have a radio in his room.
No,
do your kids? Do
What's a radio?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a boom box or, just a stereo type. Anything for DVDs, CDs.
Wow. Yeah.
Nothing.
Which, Ozzy's only 5. And I too. I had a radio, CD player, and of course I had to get the big stupid amp and big speakers and all that fun stuff. And I had my CD collection that I had to drop $20 per album, per CD, and I was kind of a rebel. I didn't want to listen to all those country stations that were on the radio in my area. So, I would always listen to my CDs, whether I was doing homework or whatever the case may be. I can remember the 5 CDs that I would just put on and play all the way through. All 11 songs, all 12 songs, especially accounting homework. God, I hated that.
Top to bottom, huh?
Yeah, but I would listen to, there was about Matchbox 20, Yourself, or Someone Like You. I would listen from song 1 all the way through, I think it was like 12 or 11 songs on that album. There's like 3 or 4 others that I'd do that with. So maybe it is the same as Spotify. I don't know.
No, but we could talk about this all day, and we're gonna bring this to an end here pretty soon. But that's another good point. The amount of time that I spent in high school going to the record store, you called it the record store. It was really CDs.
Yeah.
And we would get those, and then when you would listen to that whole disc, you would hear songs that you would never hear on the radio.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? And you wouldn't hear today on Spotify or Pandora or any of these outlets. So you would get exposed to all that different stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was a big deal for me too. And I'm sure all of us, that's the way it was. You had a case of like 50 CDs in your car, or that you would play in your living room or whatever.
I think we still have your old one somewhere.
Yeah, man. And it was and those things were like a case of CDs was like a valuable thing. Like people would steal that shit.
I know. Oh yeah, they would. I know.
I remember a party once. We won't go there.
It was a big dang deal, and that's stuff.
Yeah.
Radio. Like cars don't even have CD players anymore.
I think your typical album has 1 usually, but sometimes 3 to 4 singles. And that's what you hear on the radio. But those other 8 or 9 songs, those are good songs by an artist you already like. You made the commitment to buy that album, and you're exactly right. When Ashley and I, my wife Ashley, we talk about that all the time, how like that entire that entire album you're not being exposed to anymore.
Yep.
You know, those artists are worth more than just
For sure.
one or two songs.
I never thought of it that way.
Oh,
So
yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's true.
Now, I will say this. You're talking about how, you know, your kids don't really listen to music too much anymore.
Yeah.
Ours are on the opposite end of that. And it's YouTube has done it. And it was when I bet Ozzy was 2 years old, and I'm just trying to get him to stop tearing the place up, right? So of Monsters and Men, they always have zany videos.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot going on. It's all animation and bright colors, and there's beasts and there's animals. So we started playing those videos for him, and that's all they want to listen to. Like when we go get in the car, they want to hear Monsters and Men.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And when they turn on YouTube, they want to watch those videos. And they still want to do that like 3 or 4 years later. And it's and now it's because YouTube, they just keep feeding it to you, right?
Yeah.
Now it's evolved into The Weeknd. He really wants to watch The Weeknd
Oh,
the time. All of The Weeknd's videos, he dances to them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's hilarious, but I mean, and you know, The Weeknd, they're on pop radio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when he hears it on the radio, he's like, it's The Weeknd. You know,
Yeah.
so like,
That's funny.
so
He
once
thinks he's
again,
cool and he's
Yeah.
yeah.
so like, once again, I'm not trying to throw social media, or YouTube, or any of these
No.
mediums under the bus. I think it's really just to kind of put a bow on it. It's up to parents and everyone else to just kind of monitor it, just like it's always been. You know, good parents usually raise good kids. Isn't that really what we're getting at?
I think that's the bottom line, man. It's everything is going to continue to change. There's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't pass the blame onto anything else. You can't just say, well, you know, I don't have any control of this, or I don't have any control of that, or whatever. It's like, as a parent, you got to figure out, hey, here's how it's working now, and here's how I need to adapt.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Amazon Prime, my kid would have got an A in math class.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty good though that us three here, we're probably the best three parents that I know. So
For
you know.
sure.
Oh.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
we're killing it.
cheers.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, right?
Clink.
Yeah. Boom.
Clink.
Boom.
Clinky.
Yeah.
Well, I'll drink to that.
Well, we could go on forever, I think, but I think this
Yeah, I
is
think
good combo.
I'm done talking about this.
Okay. All right. Me too. I'm done with you guys.
Well, that was fun.
It was fun. I think I learned something here today.
Well, until next time, huh?
Yep.
Catch y'all later.
All right.
Peace out.